willing to do that?
Yes.
Then just do that and see what happens. You may actually be surprised that whatever does happen actually does in fact serve you better than the thing you thought needed to happen.
Okay.
Whether in the short or long term. And again, please remember, we are communicating with you right now, but this is the way in which we need to communicate with all of you, most of you, right now. This is a step toward the idea of open contact.
Awesome.
Yes?
Yes, thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Hello, you guys. Hi, everybody.
And to you, good day.
Thank you. I don't have a question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have a statement?
Many statements. I love everyone. I love. It's a statement.
All right.
So I've been doing my own channeling, my
Yes.
own vocal channeling.
All right.
And
How exciting.
It is very exciting. And I'm stepping out of the shadows, stepping from the shadows more into the excitement of it.
All right. Thank you.
And thank you. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Thank you for thanking us for thanking you.
I could continue, but we'll leave it there.
Yes, we will. And
I've been going through, feeling into wanting, in a sense, like to fact check with you guys.
fact check.
Yeah, like I'm aware of the fact that there may be a part of me that is looking for validation that what I am experiencing is actually in alignment with, like, I'm sorry, there's so many beings laughing at us.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. But that doesn't matter because that's the permission slip,
Yes.
essentially. That is
Yes.
the allegory of the story.
Yes, and all you have to do is ask yourself, is what's coming through you supportive, encouraging, expanding, connective, positive, as opposed to the opposite?
Absolutely, and it is.
Then that's your answer.
Yes.
You're doing fine.
Yes.
Keep doing it if that's the case. If it's not controlling, negative, fear-inducing. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely understand.
All right.
There is a resistance, though, that I feel in the body.
Yes. Well, what do you think is happening there?
Well, there's an opening. I'm moving the energy through in different ways.
And you may simply not be used to that yet.
Correct.
Yes. You need to stretch a little bit, perhaps, by continuing to practice.
And there is also, too, a sense of responsibility that I feel in a way that is a bit...
Yes. But that's just what?
A belief.
An
and-
ability to respond.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Response ability.
I want to lead everyone through the hokey pokey. Do you know the hokey pokey?
We understand the reference.
Do you guys want to move a little bit? Maybe look at, no?
It's up to whoever does or
Whoever
doesn't.
wants to? Okay. I want to move just a little bit.
Go ahead.
Okay. So
If there are those that wish to join
that want
you,
to
they
do the
will.
hokey pokey. Cool. Okay. We can do it sitting even. So you put your right hand in. You put your right hand in, you put your right hand out, you put your right hand in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around, and that's what it's all about. You put your left hand in, you put your left hand out, you put your left hand in, and you shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around, and that's what it's all about.
Thank you for finally explaining what it's all about.
It's all about. We're just turning ourselves around, right?
Correct. That is what it's all about. You turn yourself around. You transform yourself moment to moment. It's a dance.
It is a dance.
It is a dance. Yes.
So I've been connecting to experiences that I may classify in my mind as my lab.
Yes.
And I think there are many of us that have chosen to participate in what we would understand as the hybrid program,
Yes.
as well as having connections and experience with beings like you in different modalities.
Yes.
And then many of us have chosen to partake in these different lines of experience.
Yes.
That can be quite intense
Sometimes.
And I'm really learning that we can truly remember our experiences in the now and remembering creating
Yes.
now, creating that
Yes.
past.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering your perspective, a bit of those programs and I am what we're both pulling from all the souls involved, the higher selves involved, what we can bring forward, your perspective a bit as to some of us that are beginning to integrate those, just anything that's coming through in regards to those specific
Are you
programs.
referring to that with regard to the hybrid program or something else?
Yes, with regard, there are overlaps
Yes,
with it.
there are.
Yes.
Which we will be discussing in the future transmission, the 5 hybrid races.
Oh, a nice commercial. Okay, cool. Awesome.
So, anything else? Or do
Thank
you have
you.
what you need?
Well, I do, but no. I just want to really give credence and appreciation and awareness and respect to the emotional body and how we and you are able to bring more information surrounding that at this time. It's human and it's very important, and how you express what you expressed today about fear is essential, and Aveo.
Aveo.
Thanks, guys.
Aveo is thank you, essentially, in our ancient language, just for those who didn't know.
Hi, Bashar.
And a
Hi.
good day.
I have a question about some history in the Bible.
Yes.
I was wondering if Moses actually went up on Mount Sinai and got these 2 tablets and where they came from.
He was given knowledge. It was an extraterrestrial encounter. The knowledge was inscribed in what you might call tablets, but not exactly of stone.
And what were they made of and where are they now?
They were a kind of crystalline formation, a kind of a crystalline nanomaterial with information that was downloadable upon touching the surface with your hand. There were some inscriptions in it, but only in the most general sense of, here's this category, this category, this category, this category, this category. Touch here, you will get that knowledge. Touch here, you will get that knowledge. Touch here, you will get that knowledge. Now, what has been translated in your language as the so-called 10 commandments were not commandments. That's a misinterpretation. They were simply 10 expressions of existence. In other words, to give you an example, what translated as, I am the Lord your God, you shall not have false gods before me, as a commandment, actually was, I am all that is, anything else you can imagine is still me, so there can be no false gods. That's the difference. Where are they now? Wouldn't you like to know? We're actually not allowed to tell you. However, we are allowed to give you a hint, if we may.
I would love a hint.
All right. What is the most famous story about someone solving a riddle that you have in your culture? Nope. Louder.
Something, the Sphinx?
What a surprise. See what you can find. Solve the riddle.
Okay,
Where We're
to
only
think
allowed to
about
tell
that.
you so much. We cannot intervene in this process. But they do exist. They can be found in, or perhaps out of time.
And this extraterrestrial presence that gave us these tablets, are they also responsible for the Jews being in the desert for 40 years and the parting of the sea?
Yes. They are a branch of what you have come to understand as the Anunnaki, but not the original ones.
And do you know why they chose to give it to the Jews?
I do.
Can you tell us why?
Not my job to tell you. Someone else will tell you in time or out of it.
Okay.
It may. We are being told it may, to some degree, be allowed, once again, in the upcoming transmission, the 5 hybrid races, which actually, we are also being told we are allowed to say, may actually be not only about the 5, but the 6th that you're becoming, and the 7th, that we will all become together. So it may extend a little further than you think, and it may cover more ground than you think, and may turn in more directions than you think, from the title that has been given. We do not mean to be mysterious, but yes, we do. For that
Thank
is
you.
all we can say at this moment, based on the timing of the dispensation and dispersal and dissemination of this information. You are on the cusp, but not quite there yet. But more will be revealed as these dialogues continue. Will that do?
On that topic, yes.
And what topic would you like to continue with?
I'm curious about Mars.
Yes, what about it?
Was there any life there? Is there life there?
Yes and yes. Primitive, still at this point. A civilization long ago that needed to move because of an asteroidal strike that ripped off about half of their atmosphere and became uninhabitable by the life form that was there. But there are still what you would call bacteriological, fungal, lichen-style life forms. Not to say that the planet isn't visited by different civilizations from time to time for a variety of reasons. Not to say that there aren't bases there for ships. But in terms of the indigenous life, that left long ago and started to go inward and incarnate upon the earth in terms of their spirits. And therefore, the trail began in your solar system with the body that was between Mars and Jupiter, that is now the asteroid belt in your system that was once called Maldek. And when that became uninhabitable, the life moved to Mars and flourished there for quite some time. And when that became uninhabitable, life incarnated on your Earth, which is still habitable, moving inward and inward and inward toward the sun, toward the light, going from the outer darkness to the inner light. Yes?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
Can you tell us a little bit about what the civilization was like when they were living on Mars?
Another time. That's a whole other story.
Okay.
But we will, another time. All right?
And last little question. Do you know if I have any hybrid children?
I do know.
And can you tell?
Oh, I thought you said that was the last question. Yes, you do.
How many?
That I will not answer.
Any names?
That I will not answer.
Can you give me any information about that?
Go to sleep and dream of them, and they will communicate with you.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Pleasant dreams.
Hello, Tadeo.
I could feel you coming, Nania.
Here I am.
There you are.
So we have like a half an hour left.
And so you would like to pick 3 more names.
Okay, and then I'll also maybe ask a few.
We'll see.
Okay. Jeremy Richardson. Kevin Viadu. Talk to you soon.
Yes.
Hi, Bashar.
And a you good day.
I'm good. I just have a question about 2 mysterious creatures and what's your take on it?
2 mysterious creatures.
Yes, the Mothman and the Chupacabra.
All right. Chupacabra, as you call it, is a relatively rare and little-known species that exists on your planet. It is uncommon to run across it, but it is kind of a cross between what you would call a canine and something else a long time ago that was hybridized with it,
Oh, okay.
that no longer exists on your planet in its original form, is extinct. So it is a rare offshoot of a hybridization, a melding that took place long ago. And it's the last remnants of that particular creature on your planet. Mothman is a very different idea. As you express it, it is a being, an interdimensional being, that like a moth is drawn to a certain type of light. The light being the light you experience or have described as experiencing upon the passage in death. Therefore, it is always attracted to things that have to do with imminent death, passage of death. In that sense, it can be a warning or a harbinger of death to come, or it can simply be that being which is attracted to the light that occurs in the transition between one reality and another. Like energy being given off in the passage.
Interesting. And one last topic. In the distant future, will we be working more with nature spirits?
Absolutely. As has already been described, you will find that after the time of the arrival of the hybrids on your planet, and when they are more fully integrated into your society and you into theirs, the idea of interacting with nature spirits will be a relatively common thing, because you will all have the abilities to do so based on the abilities of the hybrids to perceive them and guide humans to them and allow the spirits to manifest before you in more physical ways. So there will be an activity and a process involved in this. But by the time, as we have explained already, or also as has Hilla Crissing explained to you already, being 700 years in your future, interacting with nature spirits is a daily occurrence for her and the people of that time.
Oh, cool. That's pretty much it. Thank you.
Yes. Is that it? Is that it?
Okay. Any living dinosaurs, and then that's it.
What about dinosaurs?
Like the Loch Ness Monster, is that a real thing?
Well, of course you understand that dinosaurs exist as birds, yes? And in fact, many of your scientists, to be a little bit more accurate, are not really referring to them as birds anymore. They're referring to them as avian dinosaurs. Yes?
Yes.
Are there any originals living? Very rare, but a few in certain isolated places, yes, where the conditions have lasted long enough for them to perpetuate, but this is exceedingly uncommon.
Oh, okay.
And the idea that you are describing as Loch Ness is a slightly different idea. There are certain kinds of portals around your planet that are gateways between one reality and another, and sometimes beings from other times and places will come through them. And therefore, why you may not be able to easily find them, because they may vanish back through the portal.
Oh, okay.
You understand?
Yes.
So it's kind of like your world is very leaky.
And yeah, that you pretty much answered my questions. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
Hi, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Hi, everyone. Really feels really good to be here. Last time I talked to you was last year here.
All right.
So a few things I'd like to talk about.
Yes.
So I'm African American as my race.
All right.
And I've been exploring recently the ancestral healing, multi-generational trauma,
Yes.
and making a lot of great steps in it from my point of view.
All right.
And what's come to me is this idea that the more oppression, the more pain that someone goes through,
Yes.
the more opportunity that person has for bringing light into the world.
It's the rubber band analogy.
Right. And so what occurred to me was that people who have been oppressed systematically for generations and generations have a really great opportunity to bring light into the world.
Which a lot of them are beginning to do.
Right. And so what I've been thinking about is, for African American people, the idea of the past, future being holographic.
Yes.
The idea of changing the past to align with a specific future. Let's say a future that is bright, that has lots of light and love in it.
Yes, means changing the present.
Changing the present. So basically it's changing how we relate to the past. Does it mean, would it be helpful to actually create new stories of what happened in the past? Or
In a sense, yes, you can do that. The idea also is to understand that every time you change yourself, you do in fact literally change your past.
And so what I've been doing is, for my personal past or the past of people that might have the same skin color as me, or really anyone,
Yes.
I've been kind of feeling into the past
Yes.
and learning about the stories. And then
Yes.
I haven't been changing the stories because I don't think my belief system can support that, but I've
Why
been
not?
changing
Why
my
not? Why not?
perspective
Why
of the
not? Why
story.
not? Why not? Why not?
Okay.
Because you don't have to insist that they're true for them to have the effect that they are. Yes?
Okay.
That's why you all tell so many stories anyway. You go to movies and read books and you know that they might be works of fiction, but many of them feel emotionally true, don't they?
True, yeah.
That's sufficient.
Okay. So I can use stories to paint a picture that elicits certain emotions
Absolutely.
within people I'm talking to
And
to
the
trigger.
reason, as we have said several times, that that's so powerful is because story structure is innately built into your psyche. Story structure is not something you invented. Story structure is something you discovered. And so when you tell a story and use story structure, it's like you're plucking the right chords in your psyche to remember that information more efficiently and take it in and absorb it more deeply. Story structure allows you to transmit information more efficiently.
Perfect.
That's why stories stick. And so many stories have been around for so long, is because they follow story structure and people never forget them. If you miss certain beats in the story structure, the story doesn't feel as authentic. It doesn't have to be true to feel authentic. You understand?
Yeah, thank you. That's very
And
helpful.
besides, even though the story may not necessarily be, let's just say, rather than true, where it may not be relevant for your reality exactly, it still can have universal themes that are experienced somewhere in creation realistically.
Okay.
And therefore you're drawing upon that. Yes?
Yeah, thank you. That's cool. Okay. Another thing I'd like to say is, so last time I was here, I think it was last July, I mentioned that my partner and my girlfriend and I, we are planning to have kids.
Yes.
And we have already started communicating to them while they're in spirit.
Oh, all right.
And so they came through you and said something really awesome last time. So I wanted to ask this time if either of them have anything to say to me through you.
Yes. Don't plan quite so much, because we will bring some of our own plan with us.
Okay. And can I ask specifically about where we're going to be living in June? Do they have anything to say about that?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Last thing I want to say is, as I meditate, I've been practicing just letting go of the body as much as I can and just allowing this energy to come in. And I'm curious if you could help my mind understand in more detail what this energy is and how I can better collaborate with it.
It's more of yourself.
Okay. And
More
so I
of your
should just-
greater self. It's not, I know what you mean by the phrase, but it's not really so much about letting go of the body as much as it is incorporating or seeing the body simply as another expression of spirit. Not like the body is in any way, shape, or form holding you back from expanding more in your spiritual state of being. It's all different expressions of the same thing. Does that help?
Yeah, so just keep doing what I'm doing and feel the body as my consciousness, as part of spirit.
Let it be part of the experience of the meditation. Don't
Not
try
trying
to
to get out
exclude
of
it.
the
Be
way.
more inclusive with it. Yes?
Yeah, and what I've been doing is, as I feel kind of resistances in the body to taking on more energy, I've just been using Ho'oponopono, which is a Hawaiian kind of healing,
All right.
and it just kind of like seems
You
like
can
the
use multiple
resistances
permission
dissolve
slips if
and-
they help reinforce one another. That's fine, but remember that the resistance you're experiencing is coming from the fact that the body senses that you're trying to exclude it. And then you have to pacify it.
Right, okay.
If you include it, you may not have that sensation or need that extra little permission slip.
Interesting. So,
And by the way,
include the body.
are you thinking of going somewhere closer to the ocean?
Yes.
Then the kid says that's okay.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
It's my highest excitement to be here again.
What a coincidence. Mine too.
I have a question.
Yes.
It's about we have some information on internet that there is some sun simulator going on Earth. Could you tell something?
Can you repeat that phrase? It did not translate.
Yeah, a sun simulator is not our sun, our real sun. They say that it's
A
like
sun simulator.
Yes, like a big light that is pretending to be the sun, so to speak. Thank you. That's the best answer.
Well, I'll give you this. The sun is real
Okay.
and is really there because it's a star, like a lot of other stars, and it's really there and you're really orbiting it. Yes?
Yes.
However, at the same time, since you now are beginning to understand that physical reality is a simulation, I suppose you could say the sun is a simulation too. But then so is everything in physical reality. It's a simulation that you're projecting from your consciousness. So is it really there? Yes. Is it a simulation? Yes. It's this and that, not this or that.
Okay.
Does that help you?
Yes.
But in the way that you meant it, yes, it's really there.
All right. Okay.
It's not a simulated sun in that context.
Oh, thank you.
Does that help?
Yes.
We'll be kind of addressing similar issues in an upcoming transmission titled, Is the Earth Actually Flat?
Thank you. Yeah.
Because we know that that's been a subject of much discussion between different people on your planet, and we will be happy at that time in that transmission to explain why that dialogue is happening, because there's actually a very good reason why it's happening. Not necessarily the reasons that many of you may think, but there is a good reason why that's happening at this time in your civilization. So there's some connection between that and the question that you've asked.
Okay, thank you. I have one more question.
What a surprise.
Actually. I was thinking about karma when you're explaining about the history that is
Yes.
really like imprint in our
Yes.
psychic.
Yes.
And so karma would function the same, would be the same.
Karma
like
is self-imposed. Karma is just an understanding that you may have made choices that allow you to experience yourself as being out of balance, and in recognizing that that may not be what you prefer, then taking actions in the direction of choosing things that would bring you back into balance. That's karma. That's all it is.
Okay, it's like a memory.
Well, in a
It's-
sense, although memory is created in the present.
Yeah. Yes. So if we live simultaneous lives.
Yes.
So it's not right to say that we have karma that comes to another life. So
That is incorrect. Correct.
okay. So we don't have anything to pay. Like
No. Just attention to yourself.
okay.
Pay attention to yourself.
Yeah.
And choose what you prefer. And if you choose something you don't prefer, learn from it.
Okay.
Make choices that are more in alignment with what you do prefer and who you prefer to be. And that will be the proper use of the so-called term karma.
Okay.
That's all.
Yes.
It really just has to do with responsibility again. Yes?
Yes.
And finally,
I had a dream.
yes,
It was many years ago.
Yes.
And I would like you to help me to understand.
maybe.
Yes.
What's the dream?
There was this night I was very scared because I was thinking that there was some ghosts in the house.
Yes.
And I was praying. And
What did you imagine praying would do?
I'm sorry?
What did you think that praying would do?
Make the ghosts go away, perhaps.
How do you know that praying wouldn't make them come closer?
That was so scared about. I was not sure. But then what happened that there was this big light.
Yes.
And I saw these 3 angels, big angels, tall angels, and I was not dreaming. And the interesting thing is that the angels, they had eyes like they were extraterrestrials.
Well, that's because they were. They weren't angels. That was a projection from them to put you a little bit more at ease because they gave you something that you were somewhat familiar with.
Oh, okay.
So you had an encounter with the tall whites.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you
Well,
so
I had nothing
much.
to do with it.
Okay, just I had a dream recently that I had a hybrid child, but it had blue skin.
Well, that's a mixture of images because it's representative of going back to the Anunnaki bloodlines because the Anunnaki were slightly tinted blue. That's where the lineage blue blood comes from.
Okay. Okay.
So you're looking at a hybridization, but you're also seeing multiple levels of it that stretch all the way back to the Anunnaki genetically. That's why it appeared to be a blue child.
All right. So he exists.
He does.
Okay. Okay.
Will that do?
Yes.
Thank you. Nania?
Yes.
Well,
There. So, would you like to answer some questions?
let's start with one.
Okay. So, this is under the topic of negative beliefs or negative ideas. So, I've got new technology now, okay? So, little tablet with the question on it.
Yes. This comes from,
Ustream.
all right.
What is your response to the statement, I don't believe in negative beliefs?
That's a negative belief. Because you're saying, I don't believe.
In negative, oh, right.
Therefore, it's a negative belief statement. A little bit paradoxical, isn't it?
That's pretty interesting. You're so clever.
Am I? Just seems obvious.
And then the next question was, is there any relationship between a negative belief and a specific symptom or illness?
Yes, there can be, absolutely.
Would you like to give some examples of that?
Well, on an extremely simplistic level of illustration, you could say that someone that truly, truly believes that they are not worthy of living could in fact allow themselves to contract a disease that will wither them away and let them die. It can be that simple. There's usually a little bit more complexity to it than that, a fewer different kinds of ideas and issues mixed in, but that's a simple illustration.
What about when there's like genetic issues that are along family lines?
Well, again, it depends on why that might have been chosen. Because again, it can be about the person just simply saying, I want to choose a life that has an automatic switch that will shut off at a certain time. I'll do that genetically. That's just one of the easiest things to do. I'll pick a family line that I know that that's likely to happen in. And it can also be for a variety of other reasons. I will choose this because what I will bring into this life by having this particular genetic condition will be of great value not only for me to learn certain things, but of great value for the family that I'm born into to learn certain things that we've agreed I will help teach them. You have to take it on a case-by-case basis.
That's actually a really beautiful part of the idea that sometimes people take on illnesses for the benefit of the other people in their lives. So
Yes.
it may not be completely apparent.
Correct.
It takes everyone on a specific journey.
Yes.
And it becomes tempting, I think, at times for when you apply these ideas to think that, oh, because you're responsible for everything that happens to you, in a sense.
Well, you are, but that's not a negative statement.
Right. The idea that anytime you see someone that's ill, that must mean there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. Remember, not all limitations are inherently negative.
So it's always better to approach any person's illness with the idea that you don't really know what the purpose of it is.
Correct. And
And-
you can also ask the question, if you've been experiencing that for a while, as to what might I not have had a chance to experience? How different might I have been had I not had this experience with that person or with myself? That will usually illuminate to some degree the reason for that experience, because you start to realize I may not have learned this or that or gone in that direction had that not occurred. Then you can start to retroactively understand why it may have occurred.
So it's still always a personal journey in terms of understanding why illness may be part of an experience that you're having. And it's
Yes.
really important or helpful if other people don't assume that they know
It is
why
helpful.
this is happening.
Yes, it is helpful, because then at least you're starting with a relatively clean slate, and also remembering the aphorism that we have shared with all of you, which is, it's not about what happens, it's about what you do with what happens.
Right, and we all choose our own types of challenges where we
Yes.
have to apply that.
Yes.
We may not prefer what's happening, but
But there's
it's
always
all
a way
about-
to use it in a way that you do prefer.
So it always becomes a vehicle for learning how to transform
Yes.
a negative perspective into a positive one.
Or at the very least, a vehicle for recognizing the difference more clearly between the two.
Right. Oh, that's right, because discernment is such a big part of
Yes.
the education process.
Yes, it is.
So then this other question on negativity was, how can one possibly accept or define the negative, that which we absolutely do not prefer, as equally valid as the positive, and at the
All right.
same time not condone it?
The idea, again, first and foremost, again, is to understand, just like we said, not all limitations are negative, not all negativity is negative. In other words, there might be things that are created through the mechanism of negativity. Remember that when we say positive and negative, these are not value judgments. These are just descriptions of a mechanism and an energy. Positive is that which connects, integrates, expands. Negative is simply that which disconnects and, in a sense, diminishes, shrinks, isolates. These concepts in and of themselves are not automatically one thing or another. They're neutral components of these ideas. Therefore, again, you can even use a negative mechanism to create a positive effect, just as you do impose certain limitations on yourself to create the experience of physical reality. And without those limitations, without those borders, without those definitions, without those guidelines, without those agreements, you would not be able to have that experience. So in a sense, imposing limitations of that type on yourself is a negative act because you are creating a sensation to some degree of disconnection from the greater self, but you're using it for a positive purpose. It's important to understand that what we're describing when we say positive and negative are not themselves inherently totally positive or negative either. That's why it's so important to understand, going back to the first question, is that as you expand your consciousness, you have to become more aware of existence. And as you become more aware of existence, you automatically become more aware of the positive and the negative, and of course the balance point in the center, being that existence is not a duality, it's a trinity. And therefore, in becoming more aware of the negative as well as the positive, you're just becoming more aware of more probabilities, and it's up to you to decide how to use them. Because you can use a positive idea in a negative way, you can use a negative idea in a positive way, and that's why you have the symbol called the yin-yang, where you have black on one side with a little bit of white, and white on the other side with a little bit of black, showing you that no matter how much you might be on one side or the other, there is always the opportunity to recognize that a little bit of the opposite exists in each. So you can never become unaware of one side if you're actually expanding your consciousness. The only way you can become unaware consciously of one side is to actually be negative and diminish your ability to perceive existence. So when someone says, I don't believe in negative beliefs, they're actually diminishing their ability to experience part of creation, which gives them more choices. Because it's not automatic that you have to use a negative mechanism in a negative way. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, that actually, the whole idea of you have to be creative in working with energy,
Yes.
period.
Yes.
And negative energy can be transmuted, it can be worked with in a
Yes.
positive way, but
It's like saying, I have a very sharp tool. Now, I can do some good sculpting with that. I can also probably chop my finger off with it. The tool is neutral. Depends on what you do with it. So please understand this in a deeper way. And we thank the people that have asked these questions because it allows us the opportunity to open the door to explain this in a deeper way. Negative mechanically, negative energetically, positive mechanically, positive energetically is not automatically assumed to have to be used in one way or the other. It's just the tools in the kit along with the neutral third balance point. They're just tools in the kit of existence. It doesn't mean anything to become more aware of them. It just depends on how you use them when you do become more aware of them. All right?
yes.
And so, if you would now like to refresh yourselves, please take your nourishment break and we will resume this transmission afterwards. Thank you. How's it going?
Very good, wonderful. Thank you, Darryl.
All right, I'll say let us continue this transmission. But first, Nania, I see two of you. You're beside yourself. Please proceed with your dialogues.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day. Speak up and be bold so that all may hear what you have to share.
Okay. Speaking of time, in our civilization, we experience time more linearly.
Yes?
And with civilizations such as yours, is it possible that, say, you're speaking with us today and you spoke with us, say, a year back? Is this time probably your future? And
Yes. Many times in these conversations, it is not necessarily contemporary for me. I may already have had this conversation. I may have yet to have this conversation in my time frame. But when it occurs, it will go to whatever time frame it needs to. Does that make sense?
yes. So do you mean with respect to us, it makes sense? So you won't reveal certain things that you would, say, speak to me in the future if you had already had that conversation with me?
I cannot be that specific because many things are still to be decided about whether or not that would be appropriate and when.
Oh, okay.
But we are speaking, as far as you're concerned, now.
Okay. The next question is about my sister. My sister?
Your sister.
Yes.
Yes?
Could you give some negative belief systems that might result in disorders such as MS, multiple sclerosis?
Well, we cannot specifically address the idea of health issues, but again, you have to look at what the purpose might be for something like that in a number of ways, as we have suggested. One being, what is she learning by having this? What are you learning by her having this that you otherwise may not have learned, otherwise may not have experienced? What does it put you in touch with that you otherwise may not have been put in touch with, that this situation exists, that this has been chosen? Those are the ways to start to examine why something like that may exist. You understand?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Will that do, or is there something else?
Another question, another
Yes.
topic. I wanted to ask about cats.
Yes.
I was very intrigued with what they perceive and what they see.
They can peer into other dimensions. They will often see things that are invisible to you. And by learning to communicate with them, by learning to vibrate on their level, you can perhaps also be guided by cats to see those things too, to peer into other dimensions.
Could you talk about what they do when they purr?
Well, it can be for a number of different reasons. As many of you know, it can be from a satisfactory or content space. It can also be communication in a variety of levels. Sometimes it can also be that they might be attempting to repair themselves from an illness or an injury, that they may use it to vibrate themselves back into the proper state. It also has the effect on humans of many different things, such as reducing your heart rate, reducing your blood pressure. Do you understand?
Yes.
So it is primarily the idea of putting one in a state by matching that frequency that will be a beneficial state. Bringing one back, shall we say, to zero or square one, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So they are good little reset buttons.
Okay.
Yes?
Are there any forms of higher selves of cats? What do they look like? The, let's say, oversouls of cats, do they have any form?
You must repeat that.
The
It is not translating.
The higher selves of cats.
They can take other forms.
Is there any civilization that represents them specifically?
There are some that will relate very strongly to certain higher forms that you experience as cats that are not necessarily experienced exactly in the same way that you experience cats on your planet, because they are a different form, but may contain or represent similar energy. There are different civilizations that may relate to those beings in a variety of ways, yes, but the point is that you don't actually know those civilizations.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
How are you?
Perfect, and you?
Great. Nervous a little bit.
Nervous, all right. You mean excited?
I'm sorry?
You mean excited?
I think excitedly nervous.
All right.
I have 3 questions.
Yes.
My first question is I find myself killing lots of time.
Killing time? Have
Wasting,
you been arrested yet?
well, wasting a lot of time.
There was a double joke in there because to be arrested means to stop time.
I'm sorry, I'm not getting that.
All right, so you are a time killer.
Time waster.
And?
I want to be productive about my time because the way I see is that I want to make my time valuable.
Well, it is, in that sense, as valuable as you make it. But the real question is, you seem to be saying that you're not necessarily acting on your highest excitement every moment that you could be.
Correct.
Well, why not? Would be the next logical question. Because if you're acting on your highest excitement, you're activating the organizing principle of synchronicity, which allows you the correct amount of time to do whatever it is that excites you. No more and no less. So if you want to fill the time appropriately, act on your highest passion to the best you can, every moment that you can, with no insistence on the outcome, and time will regulate itself, organize itself through synchronicity to be exactly what it needs to be, no more, no less.
Correct. I get that.
Do you?
Yes.
You mean you have an intellectual comprehension, but you don't get it enough to actually do it?
Yes, I have a challenge.
What is the challenge?
I do not understand the emotions of excitement.
You don't understand them? What does that mean?
I haven't played enough with the feeling of excitement to know what is exciting for me, I guess.
You know, when we talk about the idea of excitement, we're just using a convenient word in your language. Excitement doesn't necessarily mean that you're jumping up and down with your hair on fire.
Right.
Excitement can simply be representative of the passion to be peaceful and quiet and calm sometimes. So we're not necessarily saying you have to recognize it in the typical way most people will use that. But the idea is that whatever it is you're attracted to, whatever it is that tugs you, whatever it is that feels correct for you, that's still representative of your passion. You understand? Mm-hmm. So at any given moment, out of all the options available to you at that moment, all you have to do is pick the one that's even just the tiniest bit more attractive to you than any other option and act on that first. For example, we will assume that you're here in this dialogue today because it excited you to be here.
Correct.
Well, that wasn't so difficult, was it?
No.
That was easy to figure out. Yes?
I think I have attachment towards the outcome. I'm thinking that.
All right, very good. Do you understand? Because this is exactly the opposite of what many people on your planet have been taught to think. What you need to understand is that having an attachment to the outcome is actually a limitation. Many people on your planet think, oh, well, I am attaching to this outcome because I know that that's the best possible outcome. And what I've already told you is that you know nothing of the sort. You have to first admit you don't know what the best outcome would be. You have to get into a space where you realize that's true. You have no idea what the best outcome might actually be. You may think you do, but you don't. Therefore, putting an attachment on a particular outcome is actually potentially limiting you from experiencing something much better than you were capable of imagining. So when you understand that attachment to the outcome is actually a limitation, and you don't prefer to be limited that way, you will stop being attached to the outcome because it will no longer make any sense to do that if you don't prefer to be limited by it and would rather have something manifest that's actually better than you thought. That's all it takes, is that understanding. It's a limitation.
Okay, now is it going to take me some time to really get that?
Do you wish it to take some time, or do you want to understand that you understand it now?
Well, I do understand it.
But will you act like you understand it? Because remember, you can again have an intellectual comprehension of the concept, but if it's not in your behavior, you don't get it yet. If I ask you to take 3 steps forward, can you do that?
Yes.
Do that.
Right now?
Right now. No time like the present. Did you do it? Take 3 steps back to where you were. Did you do it?
Yep.
Now, why were you able to do that? You knew you could. Did you sit there and go, well, wait a minute, I have an intellectual understanding that I could take 3 steps forward. I have a belief system that I could take 3 steps forward. Or do I? I'm not sure. Let me think about that. You didn't do any of that. You just did it. Why? Because you knew you could.
I have done enough times to know that I can do it.
What you know, you do. What you know, you do. If you're not doing it, you don't know it. You can assume that it's all because of the many times you did it before, but that's also not really true. Because you just know in the moment you can do it regardless of whether you ever did it before. I'm talking about being in the present. In the present, you just know you can do it. That's all it takes. But if it's not in your behavior, then you really don't know it. You don't understand it completely yet. You haven't made it true for yourself. And you would simply need to ask yourself, what's the resistance to allowing that to be true? That's where you need to get in touch with those beliefs that prevent you from allowing that concept that you know this and can just do this to be true. So what stops you from allowing the idea that you know how to do this to be true? And we can go back to what we said earlier. If you do in fact allow yourself to move forward in this way, as fully as you want, as fully as you need, to act on your passion, to act on your excitement, are you afraid that something negative might happen if you do?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Well, I don't have anything off the top of my head.
Well, how about the bottom of your head? What are you afraid might happen if you simply allow yourself to move forward in the way that you prefer in life? What are you afraid might happen?
I think that I would not know the step that I have to take. Like, I think that I have to know beforehand. I need to. And
do you understand that knowledge only comes with experience? So how can you know anything about the step until you take it and find out?
Yeah.
You understand? You're working it backwards.
Right.
You need to reverse this. You have to take a step to know anything at all about the next step to take. You will know nothing about any of the steps if you don't take the first one.
Is there where your faith or being...
It's not faith.
Right.
It's understanding how things work.
Okay.
I'm not telling you anything that requires the idea of faith. All you have to do is wrap your mind around the fact that what I'm talking here is physics. It's just the way reality works.
Got it.
You have to take an action before you understand the consequences of the action or any information that's connected to it that leads to the next step. If you don't take the step, you go nowhere.
Okay.
You learn nothing. You learn by doing, not by sitting around thinking about doing it until you think you know enough to do it. The moment you actually do it had nothing at all to do with the amount of time you sat around thinking about doing it. It's just that you finally got to a point where you were tired of waiting and finally decided to just do it.
Yep.
Yes?
Yes.
So until you are tired enough, you won't do it. But when you get tired of waiting, you'll do it.
Got it.
Simple as that. And I guarantee you, if you really stay aligned with your true self, by definition, nothing really negative can happen. You may manifest some things you don't prefer, but as we already discussed, you can always use what you don't prefer in a way that you do. So it makes no difference what manifests, because you will always be capable of deriving a beneficial effect from it by simply remaining in a positive state, knowing that that's what will happen. Because that's the way it works. What you put out is what you get back. That's the law. You can't change that law. What you put out is what you get back. So if you put something out that you don't prefer, you can't get anything back but things you don't prefer. If you put something out that you do prefer, it won't matter what comes back, because you'll be able to transform anything into what you prefer it to be. Even if the form doesn't change, the effect will be what you prefer. And why? Because you said so. Why? Because you knew so. That's why. There is nothing in creation that is capable of contradicting you. Nothing. You get to say what works for you. That's the whole point of being unique as a reflection of all that is. You get to say who you really are. You get to fulfill the purpose of being yourself. So what you say goes. You're in control. You're in charge. Any procrastination is simply based on your decision to procrastinate. There is actually nothing stopping you from moving forward except you.
Okay.
And what you believe to be true about yourself. So if what you believe to be true about yourself isn't working, find some things to believe about yourself that do work for you, and those will be just as real an experience as anything you used to believe to be true, because the universe will support you no matter what you choose.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does that help you?
Yes.
Yes?
My second question is along the line of self-worth.
Yes.
I have this general tendency to
You have what?
I have a general tendency.
What? We are selectively deaf to certain words, because no one has a tendency. You are making a choice.
Yeah, okay.
You see, if you say I have a tendency, then that means it's out of my control. There's nothing I can do to change that. That's what I have a tendency means. But if you say I am making a choice to do something I don't prefer, at least you're in the driver's seat. And then you can logically say, well, why would I choose to do something I don't prefer? Now you have something to work with. If you say, well, I have a tendency to do this, I have a habit of doing that, it's just a pattern, I can't help it. You have no control, you have nothing to work with. You have no way of changing that, because you cannot change what you don't own. You're saying, it's not me. Of course it's you. You're making a choice. But only because you were taught to make those kinds of choices. You can learn to make different choices.
Yep.
So, make different choices. Don't assume it's a tendency.
Okay. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Does that help?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you hear a lot of these things, but for some reason, no, never mind.
For some reason?
Never mind.
For your reasons.
Yes.
If you don't prefer your reasons, change your reasons. Is that reasonable?
That's reasonable.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have what you need. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it. Just absorb.
Greetings, Bashar.
And a you good day.
Shivai.
Shivai.
I am super excited to be here standing in front of you. Thank you so much.
Super excited.
So I have a question about Ilan.
Yes.
Is he still with you? Is he still out there?
We're all out there.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wonder about, I know your energy insignia symbol is the black pyramid with the light blue light behind it on a black
It's
background.
one of them, yes.
It's one of them?
Yes.
So while I've been meditating lately, I've been seeing an insignia that is similar. It's
Yes.
a black pyramid, the edges of the three-dimensional pyramid are lit up with bright white light.
Yes.
And at the apex tip of the pyramid, there's a beam of light that goes straight out of it.
Yes.
And across that apex is like a very light rainbow.
Yes.
So every time I close my eyes to meditate and while I'm falling asleep, I keep saying the symbol
Yes.
over and over again. I'm wondering, are you familiar with
Oh,
that one?
absolutely.
I know you don't want to unwrap my presents for me.
Oh,
but
no, no, no.
Could you give me a hint?
It's the symbol, your interpretation of the symbol that actually represents the first contact specialists.
Huh. What do I do with that?
I suppose you could get in contact with yourself?
Oh, yes. Oh, that's wonderful to hear. So that's what I've been practicing.
Oh, all right.
So keep doing that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Use it however you wish.
All right.
Things will come to you, you'll be inspired, but it's generally a representational symbol of the line of first contact specialists.
Oh, my goodness.
If you want to call it a guild, I suppose you can.
Wow, that makes me feel so special. Thank you.
It does?
It does. Even more special. Thank you.
All right.
As a permission slip, I have a little morning ritual I'd like to share with everyone. And I would like
We
your...
assume that you mean MORNING and not MOUR.
Correct.
All right.
In the AM time period
All right.
of our day. What I do is I fill a glass of water and I put it on a sheet of paper.
You fill a glass of water? How can you fill it if there's already water in it? You mean you fill a glass?
Yeah, the glass.
With
yes.
water?
With water, yes.
Thank you.
Sorry. Fill the glass with water. I place it on a piece of paper where I've written a gratitude prayer, giving thanks for love and abundance and wealth.
Yes.
And I put 3 crystals around the paper.
Yes.
And I put my hands around the glass and I say Om, and I give, and then I drink it. And as I drink and sip it, I'm giving thanks for the water.
All right.
Could you tell us, physically, in physical reality, what is happening in that process?
You are, with your permission slip, allowing yourself to alter the vibratory matrix of the water in a way that's more aligned with the vibration you wish to match in life, so that it acts, in a sense, as a booster shot.
I feel that.
Now, I have a riddle for you.
Okay.
How many eggs can you put in a 1 foot square, 1 foot deep empty basket?
None.
Incorrect. How many eggs can you put in a 1 foot square, 1 foot deep empty basket?
100. I'm not sure.
Nope.
Want me to keep guessing numbers?
Does anyone want to take a guess? Thank you. Did you hear that?
None, right.
1.
1.
Because after you put 1 in, it's not an empty basket.
Okay. I get it.
There is purpose in giving you this riddle. Think about how to look at things from a new point of view,
Okay.
and you will always find the solution. As you say, often, think outside the box, but in fact, what we're telling you is, there is no box.
Okay. Definitely gonna have to dream on that one.
Oh, all right, if you insist.
And last but not least, again, prefacing with don't want you to unwrap my presents by any means, but hints I love.
Don't worry, I won't.
I love the hints. I've been strengthening my connection with my guardian angels. One specifically, I like to call her Lakshmi, but I totally know that's not her name, if she even has a name. But could you tell me a little bit more about my guides or my personal spiritual or guardian angels that hang out with me?
How many eggs?
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm giving you the hint in the best way we can.
Okay.
Without opening your presents.
Okay.
So the more you ponder that, the more you will understand the answer to that question.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm put that one on hold for dream time as well. Can I ask another question?
That was a question.
I know, it was another question. Okay, so can you tell me about other people or beings that may be connected to my same oversoul that are actually here on Earth?
No.
Have I ever been in